Will gold's price ever be measured in 5 digits? I think it is absolutely inevitable, and my feeling is that it's going to be sooner rather than later. And this video are some of my reasons why. At goldsilver.com, we have a price match guarantee, free shipping, and global storage options. Thanks for making goldsilver.com your bullion dealer. So, this wonderful graph was sent to me by my producer-director, Dan Rubach, how reserve currencies have changed over the last 120 years. And this starts in 1899, and it's fascinating to watch. And what you want to watch for here is volatility, when it's suddenly changing, because that is when the greatest opportunity is happening. That's the end of World War I. This is the gold exchange standard. This is the crash of '29 and the Great Depression coming up. And then it goes through these very slow changes. And so with the upcoming change in the global monetary system, you know, I've said time after time that the days of the global dollar standard are numbered. I've been giving presentations on this since 2009. So why is this happening, and what is the crisis that's coming up? Let's take a look at the past monetary systems. These are the global monetary systems. There was the classical gold standard that lasted 30 to 40 years. The reason I give it that range is over about a 10-year period, countries started jumping on board. So it didn't just like instantly start. And then we had World War I, and this broke down, and then in the early 20s they established the gold exchange standard, the intra-war gold standard, which went through some big convulsions also during the Great Depression. And then in 1944, the Bretton Woods system, and in late 1971, the global dollar standard, that is now more than 50 years old. But what's interesting is each of these systems is more poorly designed than its predecessor. And so the weakest, most unstable system is the one that is the longest lived thus far, the oldest. And so getting back to the presentation, these are some of the nails in that coffin. Putin predicting dollar and euro demise, and everyone moving to real reserves of raw materials like land, food, and gold. Now, what did Putin say in this speech here that he's giving? He said the whole global economy and trade have suffered a major blow, as did the trust in the US dollar as the main reserve currency. The illegitimate freezing of some of the currency reserves of the Bank of Russia mark the end of the reliability of so-called first-class assets. In fact, the US and the EU have defaulted on their obligations to Russia. Now everybody knows that financial reserves can simply be stolen. And many countries in the immediate future may begin, I'm sure this is what will happen, to convert their paper and digital assets into real reserves of raw materials like land, food, and gold, and other real assets. Now, when he says land, food, raw materials, land, food, gold, and other real assets, what he means is as opposed to debt. Right now, the entire world operates on a debt-based monetary system, and each central bank, each economy is a gear in this clockwork of debt-based systems. They are all linked together, and it requires all of them working together for this system of IOUs to work. It's just a bunch of people swapping IOUs. And so this was on March 27th that Putin made that speech. Then, on March 31st, he signed a decree ordering gas exports to be halted if buyers don't pay in rubles. Now, this is natural gas, it's not oil, but still, Europe consumes a tremendous amount of Russian natural gas. And if they don't pay in rubles, then their economy has to slow down. The economies are directly related to energy consumption. And so if Europe's whole economy contracts, it's going to kick the world into a global recession. And so they really have to pay in rubles. We'll see what happens. Now, that was March 31st. On April 2nd, Alistair MacLeod said Russia holds a shocking 12,000 tons of gold. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. According to the World Gold Council, the United States holds 8,133 tons. Germany is by far richer per capita, per person. When you take their population divided by the number of tons here, they're about 2/3 richer per capita, 1.66 times richer than we are per capita at 3,359 tons, and Russia down here at 2,299 tons. They've got 146 million people in the country. We've got 330 million. So they are not nearly as rich as us. However, if Alistair MacLeod is right, they are about 4 times richer per person than the U.S. is. In fact, they would be the richest economy on the planet if Alistair MacLeod is right. But I haven't got that much reason to doubt him. You won't see any pictures of any U.S. president fondling gold like this, like Vladimir Putin does, going back for many, many, many decades. There are a lot of pictures of Vladimir Putin as Russia was collecting gold, and they've been doing it for a couple of decades now. So there is a paradigm shift coming. Western media hasn't grasped yet. Now we're up to April 4th. So these articles have been March 27th, March 31st, April 2nd. Now we're on April 4th. A paradigm shift Western media hasn't grasped yet. Russian ruble relaunched and linked to gold and commodities. This is by Ron Manley of Bullion Star. And he's done some great analysis here. I don't know if everything is absolutely correct, but some of the interesting things, with Russia's central bank having just profoundly altered the international trade and monetary system by linking the Russian ruble to both gold and commodities. So this is well worth reading. And then, further down on it, he says that, he was asked to write this for RussiaToday.com, RT.com. But since Russia Today is now blocked and censored by many Western locations such as the EU, UK, US, and Canada, and since many readers have not been able to access RT.com's website unless using a VPN, my questions and answers are now posted here. Who would have thought that citizens of free speech Western countries would need a VPN to read Russian news websites here? And so I happen to have a VPN, and so here is the RT version, but basically they've fixed the price of 5,000 rubles per gram from March 28th to June 30th. Now, this is actually Russia trying to accumulate more gold. They're offering to buy this from banks, and there is a time window on it. So when June 30th comes around, this will be expiring, and they're going to see whether or not they have to offer more or less, is my guess, that the price of rubles per gram is going to be a target that they're trying to reach. But, can gold stay down in 4 digits? Well, this is the federal debt of the United States. And if you cut off all of the peaks and fill in all of the valleys, you're going to come out with an average here of about 8 or 9% per year growth in our national debt. That is an enormous, 8 or 9% per year. That's the reason that it's growing as a percentage of GDP. It's growing so much faster. And so this can't continue forever without commodities, especially a commodity that is money, making up for it, doing an accounting of the difference. So getting back to this graph here, we're going to post a link at the end of the video. watch this thing and watch for a very sudden shift coming up in the near future. Probably within the next 5 years, you're going to see everything explode, and we will probably have 5-digit gold. Now, April 6th, Russia sends $650 million bond payment in rubles after the U.S. Treasury blocks payment in dollars. Now, all of these bonds say that they have to be paid in dollars, so paying in rubles is actually a default, but they have paid their bill. And what's interesting is the U.S. is like $30 trillion in debt, and we're doing deficits. We're taking on more debt at the rate of multiple trillions per year. And yet we're saying to them, oh, we have frozen all of your dollar-denominated accounts, and you can't pay any bank anymore with dollars, but you owe this, so you've got to pay it, but you have to pay them in dollars, but you can't pay them in dollars. Well, Vladimir Putin actually did make the payment. So everything that the U.S. has done in response to the war in Ukraine, which Russia has been warning about for decades, and we continued down the same path that we were on. Everything that we have done, we have shot ourselves in our own foot. We are bringing about the change in the global monetary system, and it's coming faster than you think, and I just want to leave you with this. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. At goldsilver.com, we have a price match guarantee, free shipping, and global storage options. Thanks for making goldsilver.com your bullion dealer.